It's true, digital identity is the next big thing, and it'll impact our daily lives. Apple is already rolling out digital driver's licenses across several states. During the pandemic, there were many attempts to create online vaccine passports, and other companies are trying to tie in your personal banking as well. So is your personal information at stake? Not really. It's actually safer than you think. One thing though, the concept of digital identity is still in its baby stages. We are still years away, if not decades, before the whole thing matures. No need to panic. Companies and hackers won't have access to your personal data. And no, digital identity doesn't include access to embarrassing stories you've had in the past. But in the meantime, what exactly is it? Will we benefit from it? Should we even care? Well, in this video, we'll go deep into what digital identity is through a story that really hits home. And why not? Talk to an expert about the benefits it promises. The day is getting closer. Finally, the miniature city competition is only 2 months away, and you just need to complete one last section. The miniature city speaks for itself. After all, you spent a whole year making this a reality. When the time comes, you'll be able to compete with the best of the best, with miniaturists from all over the globe. One thing though, money is running low. You're about to run out, but it's all good. Why not take a loan? There's a cash prize for the winner, and there's a decent chance of getting first place. So it's an investment, right? Tomorrow seems like a better time to ask for one. That's weird. You don't remember taking out a loan. The original amount was going to be 5K. This is way too confusing for you to handle. Our identity is tied to many things in our daily lives, and borrowing money is one of them. But what is it exactly?
Yeah, I mean, I think at a super high level, identity is who you are. So that's the things that kind of encompass like who you are, like where you live, perhaps your date of birth. You know, it depends on the context, of course, right? As to what identity means, because it will mean different things in different cases.
And then there's a case for digital identity, which is your online self.
Identity, especially some concept of digital identity, is becoming more prevalent. It's pretty clear. Again, I'll use the case of air travel. You know, if you're in the US and you have the TSA pre-check provided some information ahead of time, and there's some people that have been doing some form of digital identity and credentialing for a number of years now. Even back when I first got into blockchain in 2017, 2018, there were some vendors out there already.
While you try to connect the dots on what happened, you need a good distraction to strategize on your next steps. Some good old content. These videos are now marked as AI generated, but they look so real. This feels a little sketchy, not knowing if you're watching a real human or if a real live person actually said those words. A ripe environment for scammers or fake news, you think? The world could, go crazy. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, came up with a possible solution with this other project. Worldcoin, a project that seeks to become the world's largest digital identity and financial network in the age of AI. This way, we can be certain that any interaction we're having is with a person and not deepfakes.
To ensure privacy, anonymity, and things along those lines, things that are super important. Way before AI reaches superhuman intelligence, it's going to reach superhuman persuasion, like the ability to persuade someone of a point. So like the influence potential of AI in our society is going to be realized well before superhuman intelligence from AI, which comes back to your very basic question. How can proof of personhood be used to ensure that you're dealing with a person and not a bot or not, a super persuasive AI, for example?
They are now using this sphere called the orb, which scans people's irises and verifies your flesh and bones. With this technology, your online self can do any type of financial transaction and get rid of unnecessary paperwork.
Tools for Humanity, you could say, is the primary, I like to call it the primary developer of the Worldcoin protocol, or the first contributor to the Worldcoin project. We were chartered with building tools to kick the project off. So we had to build, obviously, the protocol, which is, again, the area I work in, an app where people could access the Worldcoin network, SDKs where developers could integrate Worldcoin into their project. So first contributor to the Worldcoin project, I think is probably a good way to sum it up.
They have also tied people's biometric data, like their eyes, to prove they're a person. That concept is simply called proof of personhood. Your data basically becomes your passport to the world.
We call it World ID. That's what we call our proof of personhood. So you can have an account associated with a World ID. That World ID can only be used for one account in a given system. So let's say hypothetically that's social media. This unique human is going to have one unique account on the social media platform. But it essentially allows a system to ensure that it's interacting with a unique human. as opposed to a bot or a very powerful AI. Or even that, it goes even a step further, right? So it's not just simply that you're unique, but in some cases that you've performed an action. This unique person, whoever that is, has performed this action one time. The presence of World ID in the system does not mean there can't be any bots, but it does mean that you would know who you're interacting with. Like, okay, I don't know, this person may be unique, but they may be a bot, I don't know it, versus another person or another account you're going to know is associated with unique, a unique human in that sense.
You immediately call the lender that is tied to your past due report. It must be a misunderstanding. They hear you out and set up a team of auditors to investigate your case. The agent says everything should be resolved soon. But when? Time is limited. With all this uncertainty, you decide to look for clues to speed up the audit. Maybe, just maybe, you can beat the clock. The thing is, you've been working on this project for a whole year. You just can't let this ruin your plans. But something still lingers in your mind. Are you a victim of identity theft? Is your privacy at stake? Who has your personal information? Your credit score that you've built for years keeps falling, and getting a loan seems less and less likely. It's now virtually impossible to finish or manage yourself. But just like anything, there are some risks, even when it comes to digital ID.
For example, like if you're from the US, you have a biometric passport, right? But at the same time, like anything that, kind of moves online, there's kind of that, inherent risk. Like any new technologies, any advancements, there's, some degree of risk associated with perhaps like identity theft. Or fraud in some fashion.
After weeks of calling, asking around, going to the landing branch, it hits you. What if somebody pulled out your mail from the trash? Would the mailroom of your apartment complex be a target? You must have thrown away a document that had your social security number. I mean, they already had your name and address, so getting extra information to open up a loan in your name should have been a breeze. Yep. Getting physical mail with sensitive information is not always the best option. Digital identity, on the other hand, shows many ways of mitigating risks.
We use blockchain technology for kind of this proof of personhood protocol. It's kind of at the heart of that. So one, it's inherently decentralized. And then there's a degree of security around that. Or let's say there's some security primitives that are reasonably easy to use in the blockchain world.
You immediately run to your apartment security staff to see if they can help you out. Maybe there's some evidence out there that could pinpoint you to the culprit. It could be that a neighbor or somebody from outside dived into the mailroom's trash to fetch people's mail. When the security guard asks you when the event happened, you really don't know. It could have been a few days before you got that notification, or weeks, or months. So you set a window as far back as last month. The issue is that you're now faced with 720 hours of footage that you need to revise. You really don't have time to go through all that. With World ID, looking up for people should take only a few seconds.
Interoperability is kind of the key. So scalability and interop are two keys. Our target scale is global scale. We want to reach every person in the world with the Worldcoin project. We're targeting it being the world's largest identity and financial network. And that, to be able to distinguish billions of humans uniquely through an iris scan is some pretty sophisticated technology. To be able to pull out enough entropy and have a model that is sophisticated enough we can do that is one challenge. How do you just literally do a comparison against billions of records? We're not talking about, a simple ID number lookup and it's indexed in a database.
What now, you ask? Days keep passing. You even hear the clock tick, even though you don't own any clocks. Should you just give up? Withdraw from the competition? Wait until next year? It's the auditor. Good news! After several weeks, they have been able to verify that you did not take out that loan. Your credit score has now even been reverted to what it used to be. Next move? Applying for the next available loan seems like your plan. You have no more time to waste. Millions of people around the world are expected to try out Worldcoin in the upcoming years, and blockchain technology is a core component for its safety and success.
Where would digital ID come into play? Simple things, right? Like it's just another account. But then if you look at some of the big topics for AI at the moment, as these models evolve and AI becomes more powerful, what does governance of those models look like? AI is going to be even more challenging. But I think there is kind of an intersection. I think the things we've learned in the blockchain world about governance can play kind of a direct role. You definitely don't want control of very powerful AI isolated or concentrated in central entities. So the decentralized nature of blockchains, I believe, can play a pretty fundamental role in how AI evolves.
Do we need to protect our humanity? As AI makes huge waves across our daily lives, what's wrong with shielding us from unknown technology? The future that we're entering will impact everyone. Work, entertainment, politics, family, so it's better to be prepared.
Who would you want to have control of that AI? And the answer is no one. Like, you would not want that AI to be influenced by any central entity whatsoever. So the decentralized nature of blockchain could play a key role in that type of future, assuming that that kind of future eventually exists.
You did it. You didn't sleep, but you did it. You managed to finish and make it in time. Now the ball is in the court. The only thing that you can do now is wait and see what the judges say. Do you remember if you managed to set up that little pine tree by the main square correctly? Never mind. It's too late for that now. It's hard to focus on the event, but you hear your name called. It's happening. It's not a dream. You won? It looks like you did. Your investment in grid paid off. Life is good. Now, how can you avoid this from ever happening again? Oh yeah, paper can't always be trusted. Go set up your digital ID. Hope that clears up what digital identity is and what it means for us humans. If you want to learn more about the blockchain space, click here to watch more. Thanks for watching and peace out.